Absolute Leigh. On today's episode, we have psychic medium Chris George here with us today. Also, before we do that, we're going to talk about what happened. What was the strategy to catch the Bronx Cobra? How did that happen? And at the end of today's episode, we have a special surprise. So stay tuned and stick with us.
It's time to live my bliss. I wanna walk in the open. Gotta live life.
Welcome to the fourth episode of Absolute Leigh. I'm so thrilled you could be with us today. This is a very, very exciting episode. I'm so honored to be doing this. This is going to be such a... Oh, I'm saying honored. Oh, I talked about this. For those of you who don't know, my first two episodes, actually, my first episode, I had a publicist friend tell me that I have keywords that you're not supposed to say over and over, and one of them was honored, and the other one was opportunity. But I just say it, all right? It's just who I am, so accept it. I'm really excited. We have psychic medium Chris George here today. Couldn't be more thrilled. This is a topic I'm thoroughly interested in. He has a lot of very passionate fans here today, including me. I am so excited about this. But first, as always, we're going to talk about an incredibly neat news, things that I find to be important. So, as usual, I have yet to talk about Charlie Sheen. I brought him up in the first 3 episodes. I kept bringing him up and saying I'm not going to talk about him, but I'm going to talk about him today. You know why? Because he went to Radio City Music Hall and bombed. Yay! I know. He's trying. He's doing that Torpedo of Truth tour, and I'm like, really? What? I don't understand. I mean, if I could do a Torpedo of Truth tour, I will, if that's what it will take to get, I don't even know how many millions he's making, but maybe I should just ask Charlie to call me. Maybe I should, try to start manifesting that. Oh, don't need that. So the news today, the first thing I want to talk about is Jim Breheny. He's the director of the Bronx Zoo. There was a quote in Time magazine as what was the main strategy for catching the Bronx Cobra. For those of you that don't know, the Bronx, in the Bronx Zoo in New York City, the cobra, at least one of them, I don't know if there was more than one, but a cobra escaped. It left its den. It was loose, and they didn't know where it was. They were saying, okay, it's somewhere in the reptile area at least. And this is the quote. The key strategy here in recovering the snake was patience. Huh? What? Patience? That does not sound like a strategy to catch a cobra. Let's just wait, and it will find me. Oh, okay, I thought that was the cobra. Shocking. I would expect, like a net, or let's set up a trap, let's throw some mice out. No, patience. Oh, boy. India, in the past decade, has increased its population by 118 million people. That means in 2030, it is on the path to pass the population of China. To give you some perspective, that's more than one third of the United States population. Huge, huge. So for those of y'all that can have children, now's the time. Let's keep this multicultural pot coming. Or India, you're welcome to come and join us so that we can still be the #1 country in the world. I don't even think we are. Do you know what the #1 is? I don't even know. I'm asking, hoping that, okay, no, all right. But I know we're up there. We have 300 million people in the US, so we're up there, but just in the past decade, 118 million. Leading us, or they're not? China is above them at least, because they're on par to pass China. That's the topic. Because they were talking about for a long time, for the past decade, they were talking about China becoming the next superpower just based on size, and India is going to be passing them up. So it's going to be India, then China, and I believe we're third. That's right. A whole lot of love. Okay. This I actually found out about today, which I find fascinating. The title is, People Say They Won't Shock Others for Cash, But Do. So there was a study Oriel Feldman Hall did at Cambridge University. They got a bunch of test subjects and gave them a hypothetical. And they said, would you be willing to like press a button? Let me see if they explain it here. Administer a painful electric shock to a person in another room to make a British pound, which is about $1.50 in American money. They posed this as a hypothetical. You know, nothing's really happening. 96% of the people said, oh, I would never do that. That just doesn't morally come, you know, that's not part of what I did. I'm just not that way. 4% said, yeah, I'd do it. Then they redid the test. They had a separate group actually line them up, have a person ready to be shocked. And they did the test again. 64% of the people, most of the people actually went through and shocked the people when they said they were going to do it. Yeah, I know. I mean, so people are not, you think when people say, oh yeah, I would never, they did it. Thankfully, in the actual experiment, there wasn't a real person. They had videotaped it. They videotaped a person that really was shocked, but they were just showing the video during that moment. So it wasn't really happening, but the people in the test subjects didn't know. 96% said, I would never, and then most of them said, oh yeah, no problem, bzz, want my money. Yeah, by the way, they had 20 opportunities. They could make 20 pounds. Most people on average did it 15 times. I know, so they're 15 pounds richer. Was it worth the 15 pounds? Let me tell you. The tallest building in New York City, I'm very fascinated by architecture. In New York City, there is the Trump World Tower. In 2001, became the tallest residential building with 72 floors. I don't know if you heard, in 2011, Frank Gehry designed a new residential building on Spruce Street that became the tallest building, beating the Trump Towers. And this is what it looks like. I mean, this is very Frank Gehry style of him to do something so wavy and architecturally. The reason I found out about him, I'm sort of embarrassed to say, is The Simpsons. He had an episode where he designed their convention hall in there, and it was just this bizarre. I didn't realize it was real. I thought it was a joke, but this is the new residential tower. So if you're looking for an apartment, yeah, Spruce Street. And you can see it. I worked at the World Trade Center 7 for a catering event, and you could sure see this building that was just winding its way up to the top. This is a residential tower. And apparently at the bottom there's a school. So when you're walking in, you're walking, well, I would be walking around with kids this way, trying to make sure I don't step on them. On a past episode, I talked about rat testing. We were talking about how my understanding was that out of all the mammals, rats are the closest to humans, closer than monkeys. That's why rat testing ever came up with. I'm not saying I support it as well. I'm not trying to make a statement on it. I'm just, you decide how you feel about it. But I was right. I was right that rats really are closer in evolutionary, whenever you test a rat, it's closer to what humans do than other mammals. And they found that they're closer on the evolutionary ladder, and no kidding, have been found to laugh and hold varying degrees of optimism about their own futures, which blew my mind. And I love that kind of notion. I mean, I'm a person that is very open and willing to accept the idea that you can talk to trees and they hear you, that kind of thing. I bet I'm going to make people think I'm crazy, but I believe it. I think it's the truth. So come email me. If you think that's crazy, email me, absolutelytv@gmail.com. We'll have a discussion. I talk to trees. Finally, I wanted to show you this great hotel. This is the Milford Plaza Hotel. It's on 45th and 8th Avenue. The description that they have for their hotel, 1,300 guest rooms, an ideal location in the heart of New York City, close to New York City's business or leisure attractions. I mean, it opened in 1928, center of the theater district. I mean, it is a very historic hotel. Well, I used to walk by it every day when I would go home. And at the top, they have a big M, as you may have seen, and the word hotel under it. This is the picture I took on February 4th, 2006. The H is out. So now it says motel instead of hotel. And I thought that was too crazy. February 4th, 2006 is when I took this picture. I would think that would be a high priority, something that you would want to fix. I took this picture on March 18th, 2011. The motel still reigns. That's all we have for incredibly neat news. Stay tuned. Right after this, we will. I want to talk about. Be sure to Twitter us at Absolutely TV. Follow us there. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook. And if you have any questions or ideas or any other pictures you want to contribute, maybe even some videos. If you have any videos you want to contribute, absolutelytv@gmail.com. Stay tuned. Stick with us. We'll be right back with psychic medium Chris George. Welcome back to Absolutely. My first guest, he's known as the guy next door psychic for his straightforward, shoot from the hip approachableness. He has so many talents. I can't have to read him because there's so many. He's a psychic, he's a medium, he's a channeler, he's a healer, he's an exorcist. He has psychic development courses. He was a part of his own show, a Staten Island cable show called Second Sight. He currently has a blog talk radio show, Second Sight NYC. A featured guest on Maury Povich and Joyce Keller's show, and is the requested radio host and lead paranormal investigative team for this year's Paranormal Expo 2011 in New York. Please welcome psychic medium Chris George. Thank you so much for being here. Look at that, yes. You have got some fans in the audience today.
Yeah, I got a few.
Yeah, right? What's that like? Always just,
Well, let me tell you, it's a full-time job.
Yeah, right? Oh, I understand.
Do you?
No, I would pretend I do. No, not yet, not yet. So tell me, as a psychic medium, when did you first know that you had a gift?
Well, I didn't know it, but when I was a kid, I would see spirit all the time, and I would see them just like flying around my house. And I didn't see full apparitions. I saw, it's very hard for me to even explain what I saw. It was kind of like an amoeba looking thing, just kind of like floating around. That's how I would see it in the beginning, in my young years. I was like 11 or 12. And I would talk about it, and my brother and sisters would be petrified. And before you knew it, all four of us were sleeping in bed with my mom and dad. So
right.
It got to the point where I had to stop talking about it because my parents were going to send me to a psychiatrist. And I said, no, this guy's not going through it.
Did you recognize when they were saying that you were thinking, no, this is normal what's happening? Or
I
were
knew,
you on board?
I knew it was real.
Yes,
I knew it was real what I was seeing, but I didn't want to accept it. And I said, you know what? Let me just not even talk about it anymore because there's no way I'm going to a psychiatrist because I'm not crazy.
Right.
So
at 11, that's amazing. You were able to say.
It was actually at 13 when I said that.
Wow.
And I said, I'm done. And I asked the spirit, please just leave me alone. Don't come to me. And they didn't for many, many, many years. And then slowly but surely, they started coming back into my life. And I would say about 2001. Now, between 13 and 2001, they were coming in, periodically for different reasons, and
while you're playing ball, and you're like,
right,
not now.
Right, no, really, but not really strong. Like it would look like shadows and stuff like that. I didn't hear anything at that point, and then 2001, spirits just started coming and coming and coming. I was like, what the hell's going on here? And it scared me to the point where. I actually, at this point, thought I was going crazy because now I started seeing full apparitions, like I see you. And I remember it clearly. I was in my living room, and I had fallen asleep watching SportsCenter. And I woke up, it had to be about 2 in the morning, and I had, I'm going to say about 12 spirits standing in the room staring at me. And I said, whoa, what the hell is that? I said, no. And,
no kidding.
And at first, I couldn't tell the difference between who was living and who was dead. So it scared me, And I said, no, this isn't cool. And they kind of disappeared. Some of them walked away, and I said, no, this is crazy. And
walked away, we would see a group of 12 people. They just started to walk away. They registered as a human the way you saw them.
One day in the city, it was after 9/11. I was with my partner, and we were driving down Broadway, and I said, I used to have vendors that worked in the street for me. They used to sell merchandise. I said, gee, you know what? We should come down here and work. You know, there's so many people here. He goes, what are you talking about? He said, there's nobody here. It's a ghost town. And I said, Jesus Christ, you know what? It really is a ghost town. And I still couldn't tell the difference between the living and the dead.
God,
so
that is surreal.
Yeah,
Just
no,
to
it
have
really
that
is.
kind of
And then there was one spirit in particular, and I don't know his name, but he was a short guy with a big handlebar mustache. And he came to me. I was watching Law and Order, and he said, "No, you're done. Enough. We're not playing with you anymore." I said, "What do you mean you're not playing with me?" I said, "You know, you got to leave."
Wait, to be clear, you were having a conversation?
Conversation, yes. I was actually speaking out loud.
Okay.
And he's standing in front of my TV. And this was the first time where I couldn't see my TV through him. And I said,
Wow.
no, this is just too freaky for me. And he said, today's the day. I said, yeah, what day is that? And that's how I speak to them. I'm telling you.
Right.
And I said, well, what day is that? He goes, today's the day you're going to learn who and what you are. And he said, and if you don't accept it, he goes, we are going to haunt you for the rest of your life. So hearing that, it kind of like really resonated with me. And I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this crap for the rest of my life, you know?
Right.
So I said, what do you mean who and what I am? And he said, well, let us show you. He goes, that's why we're here. Let us show you. Let us teach you who and what you are. He goes, because you don't know. So I said, all right, well, let's see what you got. Went down in the basement, and that was my first class. And everything I've learned from that day to this day has not been taught in a class, has not been learned in books.
When you say class,
They were teaching classes. Like I teach psychic development classes.
Yes.
I have some of my students here. I was their student. And not just a student of that one spirit, but of hundreds of spirits. And they would all teach me. They taught me how to ground myself. They taught me how to see auras. They taught me how to channel.
Not like a connection and boom, you got it. You literally are sitting there like a classroom listening to someone speak and you're
right.
okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I got that.
Exactly.
Okay,
and if I say, you know what, I need to take a break, I want to go watch TV. No, absolutely not. And they kind of got like really adamant with me, like, no, there's big things out there for you, man. What are you doing? You know, you don't want to have vendors working for you your whole life. This is what's going to bring you to where you're supposed to be. And he goes, and by helping us, we're going to help you. And I said, all right. And they taught me. They taught me how to channel. They taught me how to do healing. I mean, some of the people in the audience have been to my healing circles. They're phenomenal, you know. And listen, am I modest? I don't know. I know what I know.
I don't know.
I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm good at.
Right.
You know, and when I do a healing circle, people that come to my healing circles, they leave saying, you know what? I'm ruined for healing circles forever because it can never match what that was. And you know what? That's not me. That's spirit. That's spirit coming through me. I channel spirit, and I do a channeled healing, and it's amazing.
Let's talk about spirit. When you keep using that word, what does that mean to you?
You know, some people call them ghosts. Some people call them spirit. They're spirit. You know, you have good spirit. You have bad spirit. When it's a bad spirit, people call them ghosts or whatever. To me, they're just spirit. I don't really call them ghosts. You know, like the whole ghost hunters. No, I don't even consider it really ghost hunting because we're not hunting them. We're trying to learn from them. We're trying to get evidence. We're trying to get them to talk to us. We don't want to hunt them. We want to learn from them. And that's what paranormal investigating is all about. I know we're kind of jumping around there, but you know,
this is all fine. This is all
the whole ghost thing. I'm really not into it at all. I like spirit because that's what they are. They're spirit. Whether they're good spirit or bad spirit, they're still spirit.
How did your family react to this when you were?
My family has been amazing. From day one, they backed me up. When other people were saying I was crazy, they said, no, Chris, you know, you're not crazy. This is what you do. And, you know, people can't do what you do. And I was like, all right, well, if you say so, you know. I mean, you know.
Okay.
And when it really changed for me was when I went to my first seance. There's a famous psychic out there, and I won't mention the name, but I went to this person's seance, and it was in Williamsburg, and I was her guest, okay? The people at this seance, there had to be, I think there was 24 people at the seance, which is a big seance. They paid $300 a person to be at that seance. And I was her guest. I felt honored, you know? She didn't know me. I was a friend of her friend.
Right.
So, and she had told this woman about me. She said, bring him as my guest. All right, so I went, and I said, I'm really going to go to a seance. This is cool, you know? You see seances on TV, and you know, what's going to happen? Well, to make a long story short, absolutely nothing happened. She sat there and she kind of went like this. And I'm thinking to myself, what is this, you know? The most impressive thing that happened that night was, what I had seen was a soldier, a German soldier with a torn uniform marching around the table like he was protecting everybody. And I'm seeing this, but nobody else is. And this psychic who's doing the seance didn't see it either. So after the seance, she came up to me and she says, so Chris, well, what did you think? And I'm thinking to myself, oh, Jesus, how do I tell her that, you know, what do I say here?
Right.
I says, well, the energy was amazing, and I just kind of made it seem like I enjoyed it, but I really didn't. I said, but I have to tell you, you know, I saw the spirit of this soldier with a torn. She goes, oh my God, that's the spirit I channeled last night. She goes, here, let me get my book, and she got a book, and in her book, she did say that she channeled the spirit of a German soldier with a torn uniform. So right away, she had a liking to me, and we worked together in the beginning a little bit, but not anymore. So I went home that night, and I said, you know what? I could do this. There's no doubt in my mind that I can do this. So I called on the spirit and said, okay, now I want to learn.
Yes,
Teach me how to channel.
Yes.
And they said, you want to learn now? I was like, yeah, now I want to learn.
Are they New Yorkers? I like the way
some of them.
they talk to you.
Some of them. Some of them.
Oh, I'm just listening, commenting on what I'm hearing. So I hear your dad is your biggest fan.
Well, my dad has passed,
right.
But yes, he was my biggest fan to the point of embarrassment. Where I mean, we'd be shopping in the mall. I would be getting an outfit to wear on my TV show or something, and he would tell everybody, "Oh no, this is my son. He's this great psychic. He's got this great TV show. You got to watch him. And if you don't believe him, you should die." And I'm like, "Dad, you can't tell people that." He goes, "No. He goes, "They got to watch you." And he used to do stuff like that all the time. Really embarrassed me, but he was absolutely my biggest fan, and you know, I'm sure he still is. So.
I was about to say that's for me why I said is,
right?
Because I still believe.
Yeah, he guides me. You know, after he passed, he came to me for about the first 4 months, and we would actually sit in his car at the beach where he used to love to go, and he would put on CBS FM, and he would sit next to me, and we would actually listen to the radio together. And he would stay about 20 minutes, 40 minutes sometimes. We didn't speak much, but just the fact that he was there, I felt like it was very comforting to him. And I later found out that was kind of like his heaven. You know, everybody has their own personal heaven, their own personal hell, which is something I'm actually going to be talking about tomorrow night on our radio show, mine and Stephanie's radio show. But, you know, and he came to me for the first 4 months. He doesn't come to me as much anymore, but I know he's there.
That is beautiful.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
It's very
I love
cool.
the connection.
Well, let me get back to the whole channeling thing.
Yes.
Okay? Because I finally said to them, okay, teach me how to channel. And they did. And I sat there at a table with 3 people who know me very well. 2 knew me very well. 1 didn't know me at all. And next thing I remember, it was 45 minutes later. I came out of a trance, which I had never been in before. I was crying hysterically, which for those of you who know me know I'm not much of a crier. I see she's shaking her head over there. But and everybody was like, oh my God, and they were all crying. I said, well, what happened? And they said, well, let's go to the videotape, because we videotaped it. And I was like, Jesus, that was me? And there was orbs flying around me and everything. And I still have that videotape, obviously. And what happened was, I kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and then people started hearing about me. And then, the big Saturday night in my neighborhood was going to Chris's house for a seance. And instead of going out to clubs and bars, a lot of these people were coming to my house for a seance. And, you know, it's just kind of like where it started going, and it just grew from there.
Congratulations on being so in touch with it. You can even do that.
Yeah, I had no idea, but I figured I could. I figured, you know what, they like me, they talk to me, they teach me, they guide me. Well, you know what? Show me something that I could really use, and they did.
I love that. I'm so jealous in a way as well. I'm envious.
Well,
we have to take a break right now.
Okay.
We'll be right back. So stay tuned for more of Chris George. So tell me, when I was listing all of these different abilities, what is the difference between when we're talking about psychic, medium, channeler, clairvoyance, clairaudience? I mean, what are all these?
Well, psychic is just having the ability. Some people think it's just intuition. The whole medium thing is where you channel and you get messages from the other side. Channeling is actually bringing the spirit through you. There are different types of channeling, which I teach in my classes. You have regular channeling where you get the message and you just speak it as yourself, which most channels are like that, okay? I would say that's the easiest of the channeling to do. Then you have automatic writing where you sit there and you have spirit come through you and they just write. And I mean, I've written some stuff in automatic writing that's pretty amazing. It's not easy to do though. It can be very frustrating. It takes time. That definitely takes time. And then the hardest to do is the trance channeling. That's where spirit actually comes through you and you become that spirit. You might have their mannerisms. You might have their different characteristics that they had when they were alive. Accents. I've actually spoken Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I've spoken Yiddish. I don't even know what the hell Yiddish is, but I've spoken Yiddish. It's the truth. It's the truth. Different things like that. I never know what's going to happen when I channel. I do know that I won't allow anything negative to come in me if I don't want something negative. And I say want something negative because I do exorcisms where I do channel negative spirit. But when it comes to channeling, you basically have control over the type of spirit that comes in. And whatever happens, happens. That's why seances are so much fun because I don't remember anything. I kind of...
that's what I was just about to ask. I mean, you consciously...
Yeah.
Processing a lot of this?
Well, what happens is, in the seance, like when I do a healing circle, I'm channeling a spirit named Chang, okay?
Okay.
And I know exactly what's happening in that healing circle. I see the people, I see how they're reacting, but I'm still functioning as Chang. When I do a seance, I make sure that I completely eliminate myself from everything. I step out of myself and actually become the spirit. Because what happens is, there are things that I've said in seances that I would never ever say in real life, ever, okay? For instance, one time I was doing a seance and my daughter has a bunch of teachers that teach a dance, okay? They all came for a seance. So I'm channeling a spirit named Troy, who was a guy in his early 30s who was killed by his wife and his friends. He's from Boston. He was a longshoreman. Okay, he has since become one of my spirit guides. Phenomenal guy. Anyway, well, it's phenomenal spirit, however you want to put it.
For you, he's a phenomenal guy.
He comes through and he says, I know something about you that nobody in this room knows. He says, but I'm not going to say it. He goes, can I write it to you? She goes, I have nothing to hide. He says, say it. So now, if I would have been part of that channeling, there's no way I would have said what I said next. And through me, Spirit says, are you sure? She goes, these are my best friends. They're like my family. You could say whatever you want. I have no secrets. I says, okay, you had your first lesbian experience last night, and it was with her. And she went, and everybody at the seance went, and they both went, and so that's why
you don't recall this?
I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any of it. None of it.
What a moment to miss!
Well, I got it. It's on video somewhere. It's on video somewhere.
I mean, after all that, you come back and you're being told you won't believe what you just said.
Right, and I get that all the time. Oh. You know, I'll tell you a great story. I had a documentary done on me a few years ago, and I was all nervous about it because I wanted it to be great, and they were filming one of my seances, and I was like, come on, spirits, you know, you do great things for me all the time. You always make me look good. This is the night you gotta make me look really good, all right? So like, yeah, whatever. You know, I'm like, oh, Jesus. And I'm like thinking, they're just not gonna come through for me tonight. You know, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
So I have this whole film crew there, they're videotaping me, and one by one, every spirit is drawing an arrow like this and a circle. Every spirit. I channeled like 16 spirit that night, which is a tremendous amount of spirit. Normally it's like between 3 and 8 maybe. I channeled 16, okay? 15 of them draw the same thing. The 16th one draws it, and somebody says, what is that? Spirit looks in the camera and says, take a picture of that door right now. All these cameras come up, click, 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 click. One person got it. There's a picture of a perfect arrow with an orb. And I'd been drawing that all night.
What was the arrow?
The arrow was an orb, and I was drawing an
orb
arrow.
arrow plus another
it's
orb?
actually on my website. Steph, it's on the website, that picture? That picture's on the website, and the arrow is an orb, and then it's pointing to a round orb, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Wow,
and I was just like, yes!
Yeah, right, success, right.
Cool.
Proof, I approve.
Very cool.
So let's get into Second Sight Paranormal Investigative Team is what you're a part of.
Right.
Is
That's my team.
And Webster Dictionary defines paranormal as something that's not scientifically explainable.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that we, okay. So then.
I don't believe that. Webster's wrong.
Tell me, I mean, because
wrong.
I am trying to back out of my belief system to talk to viewers that are sitting here thinking to myself, oh, he's making all this up, he talks out of his ass, you know, any psychic, there's no way.
Right. They're saying that it can't be scientifically proven.
Right.
Well, that's what investigators do. They prove things scientifically. The difference with my team is they have me. And I am unscientific, obviously, if that's even a word. Is that a word? I'm not even sure. But I get messages, and I'm like, okay, there's somebody here named James, okay? And I'm using that because there's somebody here that this happened to. And now the scientific part comes where you get a recorder, and you try and get that spirit to confirm what I'm getting as a psychic medium on that recorder, okay? And then, lo and behold, it says, you know, the people right here in the audience, I said, there's a spirit here, his name is James, and we did the recording, and next thing you know, he goes, my name is James, and they almost crapped their pants, and next thing you know, I was doing an exorcism the next week, but that's what it is. I mean, we have equipment, and things can be scientifically proven, and I mean, I don't care what Webster says. I mean, we prove it on every investigation we go on. We get some type of scientific evidence. So
when you hear that, like, for example, my name is James, does it sound to you like someone's trying super hard to you and everyone else is just, like, well, the equipment,
no,
I guess.
I don't hear it. I don't hear it when they say it.
Oh, you're not hearing that?
No, nobody hears it when they say it. If we do another show, I'll bring in the equipment and we'll demonstrate it here. What happens is you take this digital voice recorder and you ask a question like, is there a spirit here? And you press record. And everybody's got to stay perfectly silent for like 20 seconds. And then you play it back, and a lot of times you'll get a message like, yes, I'm here, or whatever. I mean, I have so many messages on my website, it's ridiculous. Some of them sound so human, which makes it even more scary, because the more human it sounds, it's like these people have passed. How can they actually sound human? You know, most EVPs sound very like mechanical or distorted, like the whole white noise thing. And But a lot of EVPs that we've gotten, which are called Class A EVPs, meaning the best of the best, they almost sound human, some of them. So
what are they doing on the? What is a spirit doing in order to?
They're taking energy from wherever the hell they could get it.
And I mean, like scientifically, I mean, I'm not a scientist here, but this, as I talk, sound waves are coming out to be picked up digitally on the recorder.
Right.
Are they creating? Is the spirit creating sound waves as well?
No. What they're doing is they're picking up energy from what's going on around them. Okay, and using that energy to make the sounds. Okay, they're not putting it out; they're picking it up. Okay, even if they're taking the energy from us to make that come out on the EVP. It's pretty amazing.
Incredible.
I mean, we have some. If you go to my website and go to the EVP tab,
the website, which is Second Sight. Let's say this.
Second Sight NYC.webs.com.
Thank you.
If you go there and check out the EVP tabs, one of two things will happen. You'll go out and buy a digital recorder because you want to get EVPs, or you'll say, you know what, paranormal investigating isn't for me. It's too scary. So it'll go one of two ways.
Right. I want to hear about spirits. And that most people would call ghosts, which I, before today, was calling ghosts.
Don't ever call them ghosts again.
So I'm
very disrespectful to the spirit.
I will say spirit.
Right.
What my question? So I don't want to ever be offensive, but my question is, why don't they have anything better to do than to sit around this room? Or
my God, you know what they're doing on the other side? They have jobs. I mean, they're looking after you. They're looking after her. They're looking after her. They're looking after us. They're helping guide us. They have jobs on the other side.
That's why what we're seeing is not someone that's sitting around like, I'm going to walk around this room.
Right. Now, some of them are like that. Some of them are just kind of lost. They haven't passed into the light, or they haven't learned their lesson, or they're just like lethargic on the other side. But most spirit, really, they have jobs. Like my guides, they're helping me every day. They talk to me every day. They're helping you. They want a job. They want to be acknowledged. And I tell people all the time when I give readings, say somebody comes through for them, and not whenever I give a reading, I mean, somebody doesn't always come through specifically for somebody. I just get messages, and sometimes they're specific from a grandmother or a grandfather or whoever. You know, they want to be acknowledged. That's a very important thing to them on the other side, because it takes, especially when they're giving you a message or a sign, or if you smell that coffee, that there's no coffee going on, and your father had passed, and you smell that coffee. You know what you're supposed to do? Dad, I know you're here. Yeah. You know why? Because they need the acknowledgement. People don't realize how much energy it takes for them to do that. A tremendous amount of energy. So if they feel that you're not acknowledging the fact that they're there, that you're not picking up this sign that they're giving you, that they're putting all that energy into giving you, then eventually they stop giving you those signs.
Is it not that I would have suspected that they would be able to read my mind. So if I were to smell something, I would be thinking, oh, that's strange. Maybe it's
No, that's not their job. That's your job. That's your job to get out of the muddled crap that's in your head to allow the messages to come through. That's not their job.
So why doesn't the spirit come into a form that is irrevocable? There's no other way.
Sometimes they do, but the fact is, it takes a tremendous amount of energy to do that.
But isn't it worth it so I can see, just so I can prove?
It's worth it. Of course it's worth it, but most spirit can't manufacture that much energy to do that. That's why, like when we get the pictures of the orbs, it takes so much for them to do just that. You know, but then to actually manifest so where you could see them in an apparition form, that's so rare because it's so hard to do. You know, people think that just because they're on the other side of their spirits, they can do whatever they want. That's not true.
That's my idea of what
it's not true. Sometimes they need help. They need acknowledgement, and the more you acknowledge them, the harder they'll try. People just don't realize that.
That makes it sound more human than esoteric than I would have initially thought.
In a way, it kind of is. It kind of they want acknowledgement. They want to know that you know that they're there, because that effort that it takes for them to let you know is tremendous. And if you don't acknowledge it, they're like, well, he's not acknowledging it. Maybe I should go give that message to somebody else, you know, and maybe they'll acknowledge it. You know, somebody else in your family, maybe. And that's just the way it goes.
I want them to text me so I can get a text.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work that way.
We're going to be right back with some audience questions. So stick with us. We have some messages for you. We're going to get some questions from the audience. So please, your name and what is your question?
Hi, my name is Teresita.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you, doesn't it frighten you that you might channel an evil spirit? And what do you do from it affecting you?
Okay. No, it doesn't scare me, not even a little bit. I love it because I wouldn't let a negative spirit into me for just to channel a negative spirit. I just wouldn't do it. I teach that in my classes. You never let a negative spirit into you. You know your own body. You know what's good, what's bad. You feel the energy. If it's not something you're comfortable with, you tell them no, okay? The negative spirit that I would channel is when I do an exorcism, which I've done. I'm not going to tell you how many. I've done quite a few. And I've been all over the world doing them, and that's the only time I would ever channel a negative spirit. And what do I do with those spirits? Or how do I take care of myself afterwards? I just ground myself. There's a whole little ritual that I have, that I teach to my psychic development students, a way to ground yourself, a way to protect yourself, and it's just what I do. And I know you want to know about spirit in the light.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. There could be, this is right out of my class, okay? Actually, my students could come up here and tell you this. There could be a spirit on the left of you and a spirit on the right of you, and one of them be in the light and one of them not be in the light, okay? Most people don't know that. They think that if you go in the light, you know, they're gone. Yeah. That's a bunch of baloney. The difference is the spirit that isn't in the light is very connected to you on the earth plane, meaning if you're sad, that spirit will feel that sadness. If you're angry, that spirit will feel that anger, okay? Whereas the spirit that is in the light, who's standing just on the other side of you, they're not feeling that anger or that sadness. What they're doing is they're trying to help you get over that anger and that sadness, okay? And then like when I watch the show, Medium, I think it's Medium.
Oh, yes.
And they say, oh, when they go in the light, they're gone. I don't understand why they do that, because the guy who writes that show, James Van Praagh, who's a phenomenal psychic, he knows that's not true, because they can be right here with you. Oh. All right? They just don't have the connection to the sadness and the anger and all that other stuff. So
they are light.
They are light,
they are
absolutely.
Much lighter. Well,
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for that question. Do we have another question? Yes, come on up. Give us your name and tell us what your
Hi,
question
my
is.
name is Jessica. I was wondering, do we have any spirit guests with us?
There are spirit all over the place. Now, Kiana, I don't know, because I pick up that there's a male that has passed within the last 2 to 3 years that was close to you. I don't know if it's somebody that you're friends with right now, but maybe when you were a little bit younger. And I feel, and I think his name is James, by the way, and I feel like he's really trying to give you a message, but it's a message that only you're going to hear. And I think it's somebody from your childhood. And I'm thinking from the age of like 13 to 17, somebody who was in your life. And I think you need to think about this, okay? And I think it'll come to you. What I suggest you do is at night when you go to bed, open yourself up. I mean, you know how to do all this stuff. I don't have to explain it to you. We don't have enough time for that. Open yourself up and let the messages come through. I feel like somebody named James really wants to give you a message. And I think he passed within the last 2 to 3 years. Okay, so look back into your little archives of friends and figure it out. But I know that there's somebody there for you. Not only that, but I just want to throw a quick reading out to the two of you, and I'll get back to your question. Like I said to you guys earlier, I really feel that this show is just a stepping stone for the two of you. All right, I see you actually producing on a much higher scale, okay, and I see you hosting on a much higher scale, and I think that's going to happen within the next year. Okay. Now, the difference between myself and other psychics is a lot of psychics won't put a time frame on things because they hate to be wrong.
Right.
Okay. I also hate to be wrong. Okay. But I'll put myself out there, and I will put my messages out there to, you know, if it doesn't happen in a year, you guys can call me and say, Chris, you're full of crap. And I'm okay with that.
Well, if I can bring on guests in a year, I will bring you on, and we can have a discussion about this, no matter where it is.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
I say that because that's a way you guys could check me, you know, see if I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, trust me. April 12th, 2012.
I know this. I know this already. I really think that this is just a stepping stone for you guys. This is small potatoes compared to what you guys both have coming, just so you know.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, please.
And
let's talk about the spirit guest. What's involved in, what's here? What's in this room?
Well, actually sitting here right now, I see at least 6 spirit just actually sitting amongst the audience watching the show, kind of saying, yes, this is cool, you know? So
that is incredible.
Actually, right next to you over there, I don't know if you're sensitive to spirit, and I'm being told that you are. If you put your hand out and just feel the energy in front of you first, okay? And then feel the energy to your side, there's a spirit sitting there right now. Now, I don't know if they're picking anything up on the camera, but do you feel the difference? Because there is a spirit. It should be heavy, absolutely. And there's actually spirit sitting there with you right now, so which is pretty cool.
Do these,
You're
do
very
these spirits, are these people that they would know, or spirit guides, or they could be?
Most people, spirit guides, they don't know them. Now, that being said, my father has passed. He guides me, okay? And anybody here who has somebody who has passed in their lives, a mother, father, a brother, whoever, aunt, uncle, grandmother, do they guide you? Absolutely, okay? But they might not be your specific spirit guide. Most of people's spirit guides, they have no idea who they are, okay? That's a cool thing that I do is with my psychic development class, I figure out who their spirit guides are. And we've had verifications, obviously, and, you know, it's cool. You know, everybody has a spirit guide, obviously. Most of us don't know who they are.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Other questions? Anybody have any other questions they want to ask?
I have a message for you. What's your name?
Marche.
Marche. I don't know what you do for a living, but I do feel that there is a very big healing quality about you, and I think it's your right hand more so than your left hand. The right side of your body is your healing part. I don't know if you're doing any kind of Reiki or anything like that, but I think you should be. I think that's part of your life path. I think that's what you're supposed to be doing, working with the whole healing aspect of yourself. That's who you are, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. It is absolutely who you are. I stand by that 100%, and you can't tell me otherwise. So I feel that very strongly for you, and I think it's your right side where the healing part comes through for you.
Okay, you know, I'd taken a Reiki class, and I haven't gone further with it. But
Well, you should.
Okay.
Because you're disrespecting your gift by not taking it further, because it's
So
who you are.
energetic healing.
Absolutely. Whether it's prana healing, whether it's Reiki, whether it's channeled, I don't care what kind of healing you do. I really think Reiki is more for you personally, but you need to acknowledge like Spirit told me, acknowledge who and what you are. I think you need to acknowledge who and what you are, and that is a healer. So work on it. There are good things out there for you if you do. Okay? And
thank
Kiana,
you.
I got something for you. I mean, not Kiana, I'm sorry, Eugenia. You said that you're thinking of moving, okay? I do think you're going to. I see three different things opening up for you when you do make that move, okay? You also said you wanted to do a bi-coastal thing. I do think that's going to happen, but I also believe that the bigger part of what lays ahead for you is on the West Coast more so than the East Coast. So you take that information any way you want. You have free will to do what you want to do. I just think that the West Coast is going to be more suited for you than the East Coast, but there will be an East Coast connection for you. Thank you. Okay? That make sense to you?
I'm so sorry.
Okay. I don't want you to cry. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good thing. It's your dream, okay, of opening centers and stuff like that. I got to tell you something. I really feel that it should have happened by now, okay? Sometimes obstacles get in the way and things happen and things don't manifest the way you want them to or as quickly as you want them to or even as quickly as I see them happening, okay? What I need you to understand is that it will happen, it will manifest, and your life's dream is going to come to fruition. I promise you that, absolutely. And I do think it's going to be West Coast oriented and then brought to the East Coast. So, again, free will, you can do whatever you want to do. It's going to happen. You are going to be put in contact with the people who are going to help you, okay? You put out too much good energy for the good not to come to you. All right, I feel like you've had your share of ups and downs, a lot of downs actually, and the ups are coming. So your tomorrows are better than your yesterdays, type of thing. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those readings. That's very wonderful. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back after these messages. So stay tuned. George, so much for being here today. He
Pleasure to be here.
Such a wonderful guest for us. If you want to find out more about Chris George, he has a blog talk radio show with his partner Stephanie Benetti. Thank you. I'm so sorry I didn't ask that before. You can find out that's on Blog Talk Radio Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. You can also go to their website to find out more about what they do with paranormal, as well as Blog Talk Radio at secondsightnyc.webs.com. Also, he's going to be at the Paranormal Expo 2011 in New York, which are at what dates?
That's June 17th, 18th, and 19th.
And that's in New York City?
That's in Auburn, New York, yes.
Well,
Not in the city, in Auburn, New York, upstate.
Auburn, New York. So please join him at Auburn, New York. And thank you so much for being here.
It was a pleasure to be here and a great audience, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. So, yes, thank you. Also, one member of our audience is going to get 30 minutes with Chris George. I almost blanked on your name for a second there.
30-minute reading.
reading. 30 minutes. I make up my own prizes.
I have to say that because you know I got the girl from right here. She might have a little bit of an objection.
Let's find out. You want to draw a number for us?
Sure, I do. Number 5.
Number 5. Oh, yay! Congratulations! How wonderful! Well, we'll be right back after this message. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
I'm so grateful. Oh my goodness! For the truth of the day, this is just such an amazing show today. I've just had such a good time. I want to. My truth of the day today is about how on this journey I could not have done it by myself. And I actually, she doesn't know I'm doing this, but Kiana, can you come up here? I want to bring you up because really, without you, I could not have done. That is okay. She's not wearing shoes and she's really embarrassed by that, but that is okay. I want you to come here. Without Kiana, I could have never have done this. She's the reason. I am so grateful that you are doing this. And you're just such a amazing producer. It's also her birthday. And we have a little cupcake. So like, can we sing happy birthday to Kiana? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my favorite producer ever, Kiana. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish.
Yay!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. I couldn't have done it without her. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure, I made her make this sign for me so I can remember what to say at the end. So be sure to Twitter us at Absolutely TV. Facebook, you can find us at facebook.com/Leigh Cambry fan page, absolutelytv at gmail.com. Or you can find all of that at www.leighcambry.com/absolutely. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. I cannot wait. You're amazing. Thank you all very much. So grateful.